I am going to tell you exactly how I began my journey in the high society, and it actually all started here in Rome, where I am right now. First of all, apologies for this sound. It might be a little bit windy as I record this, and also the fact that I'm wearing sunglasses, but literally it's so bright here that I can barely keep my eyes open, so I'm just going to keep the sunglasses on as I tell you this little story about when I lived in Italy. So as you guys might see, I am currently in Rome. Rome, Italy, what an amazing place to be. So much history, so much beautiful scenery. This is definitely one of my favorite cities in the world. And I happen to have lived here when I was 19 years old. So Rome was actually the place that was the beginning of my jet-setting journey. When I was 19, I finished high school and I was living in Sweden. I grew up in Sweden, for those of you who don't know. And as soon as I was done with high school there, I had planned to leave the country ASAP because I knew that there was no future for me in my own country. Even though Sweden and Stockholm is quite developed, but I just felt something inside me that there was nothing there for me that was really gonna take me to where I wanted to be. So when I was growing up, I had never any plans that I wanted to become like this kind of jet setter or create like a more luxurious lifestyle for myself. I just really knew that I wanted to travel a lot, see what's out there, and kind of just explore world and take it from there. But then I decided that I wanted to go to Italy, and I decided on Italy because I had been to Italy before with my parents, and my parents spoke so highly about it. So I thought that Italy is a perfect place for me to kind of start my adult years, because don't forget I was 19. I didn't really know anything. I was green. I had no experience. So I decided on Rome, and what I did was that I didn't really have any money to support myself, or I was never going to really ask my parents for money. So instead, I actually took a student loan and took a 1-year Italian language course in Rome. So that decision was what really put me on the jet set map. This decision of, okay, I'm going to leave my country behind. I'm going to take this 1 year and let's see what happens after. And I don't know anybody where I'm going, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I don't want to wait for life to happen. I need to create life because life is not gonna wait for me. And of course, everybody always asks me, so how come you went to Italy all by yourself? Weren't you scared? Weren't you worried? Why didn't you go with friends? And this is the thing, nobody of those people who I grew up with or those who I knew back then, nobody wanted to go travel. Nobody wanted to do really anything. People were hesitating between oh, maybe I should continue study after. Yeah, maybe I will just go study some course at university. And I just felt but why? Why should I go to university and kind of waste my time study something that I'm not really gonna use? Because obviously back then I was 19, I still didn't know what I really wanted to do with my life. I mean, how many people in that age do actually know what they want to do? Not many. Usually what happens is that people either end up in a job they don't like because they make a decision when they're 19, or they end up changing the route later. So I knew that I was not mature to take a decision what I wanted to do with my career life. So I felt for me it totally made sense to go traveling. So traveling I went and ended up in Rome. So anyway, I took this student loan, and thank God I live in a country, or lived in Sweden, where they're very generous with giving you student loans. And they encourage people to travel, they encourage people to study languages and that type of thing. So that really worked out in my benefit. So I went to Rome, and I still remember so clearly, even though it was such a long time ago, my first impressions and my first days even. I can really even remember clearly my first 24 hours. It was such a rush, you know, being in this foreign country all by yourself. You don't know anybody. Your parents are not there. Nobody's there. You don't know anybody. And that's when I really realized, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anyone here. I don't know anybody. I am free as a bird. Like, I can be whoever I want to be. I can do whatever I want to do. There's no rules for me. Like really, the world is my oyster. So I think having that in mind really opened up myself a lot, meaning that I became very outgoing and I was really not afraid. So people would feel very like maybe timid, they would maybe go inside themselves. Me, okay, I didn't know anybody. So what did I do when I arrived to Rome? I went just walking every day, all by myself, just walking, sitting in cafes, sitting on park benches, sitting on benches, like, you know, stupid things. But you know what? That actually made me start talking to people, random people. I spoke to tourists, I spoke to expats, I spoke to Romans, I spoke to people who were in the same position as me. Really, that's how easy it was. Just by being by yourself, just by being outgoing, just by having the courage of not hiding somewhere, but just taking yourself and putting kind of yourself on the map. So that was my first beginning in Rome. That was like my baby steps. And thank God for those baby steps, because I did make friends out.